All right, down, oh, actually not down, up in the top right of ESV Kadaria, one of our newest maps in the IPL map pool for this season. We do have nuBreed.LurkeR, he is the green Zerg over here, and his opponent from Eclypsia is actually going to be this red Terran Dayshi, and I did just notice their clan tags have the same little symbol in it that Millennium also uses. You don't see it that often.
Yeah, but
I don't even know what to call that.
I'm not sure what it is either. I apologize. I'm sure someone will tweet at me and yell at me, and so feel free to do so. I'm not beyond being yelled at. But it is a TVC. It's Kadaria. We've seen a couple of TVCs on this map already, actually, in the short time it's been in our map pool. We saw it in the set with Major versus Hyun in Fight Club, and he ended up, Major I should say, ended up going for a mech-based strategy that was kind of revolving around building a big defensive line right here outside of your third, siege tanks and sensor towers, missile turrets, things like that. We actually saw that repeated a couple of times here in TVCs. I wonder if we're going to get the same sort of strategy. I can't tell you honestly what Dayshi favors, so it'll be a surprise to me.
Yeah, I'm basically going into this one blind myself. I mean, LurkeR, not familiar with the player. Dayshi, I've only seen a couple of games, but interesting to note that Kadaria is a 4-spawn map, so it is going to be interesting to see what scouting patterns these players take and stuff like that. It looks like we did get an observer replay, which is always a thrill,
yes.
instead of the player replay where you don't get that observer chat, but it did just dawn on me while we were talking about it that the symbol that they're using could be the not equals symbol that you see in mathematics. Sometimes you see it as an exclamation point and then an equal sign, but sometimes you see it as just an equal sign with a slash through it. So I think that could be the not equals sign. I'm not sure.
I like that because it has nice ironic connotations. Eclypsia does not equal Dayshi. They're
true.
a team, not one man.
That's right. Not all rectangles are squares.
Yes.
But all squares are rectangles.
That's a fact. Those are also other math axioms. So
yeah.
Anyway, let's see. It's of course hatch first for LurkeR, follows it up with a pool afterwards. He's not decided the gas quite yet. If he holds off that for even a second or two longer, more than likely going to be some variation of the 4 or 6 queen build that we've seen so often in Zerg versus Terran.
Yeah, so far, nothing to really write home about just yet. Just both players giving each other some breathing room. Actually, Dayshi choosing to not even scout at all. It looks like LurkeR is the only one who's even sent out an Overlord up to this point, and that makes me curious how much experience these players have with this map even. It is a relatively new one. We just started using it not too long ago, so I'm not sure. It's not a ladder map again, so you know, they basically do have to practice intentionally on Kadaria if they want to try to get better at it. So both players not scouting, just purely macroing up at this point.
It is important to note that Eclypsia now has show, so I'm sure that
he's been
Terran
training them.
Players, yes, are training them not to scout, just trust their strategies. Dayshi, unfortunately, is going against that right now and deciding to scout with his SCV. Take him an awfully long time before he finds his opponent, though. First couple of the queens are coming up, still no gas quite yet, so we'll surely see a couple more right afterwards. Dayshi decided to double gas, though, and this could very well be that predictable reactored Hellion into Banshee into double armory mech that we've seen so often lately.
Yeah, you might as well test the water if you're not sure how good your opponent is or anything like that. You might as well go with a sure bet. Try and get some easy drone kills. It is going to put the pressure on LurkeR to be able to respond correctly. So really not too much of a danger for Dayshi to try to do that and just see what happens. I imagine Sho standing behind Dayshi and is like, put your blindfold back on. Stop scouting with that SCV. You don't need to know where he is. Can anybody tell me what the stream is for Kier? Well, if he meant here, then the stream is, you know, twitch.tv/IGNProLeague.
Clearly.
Yeah,
yes.
so if you're watching already, you'll know the answer now, but then you won't need the answer because you're already watching.
All right, so looks like they did decide to stream these games beforehand, so there you go. Anyway, looks like, yeah, third command center coming out now. This is pretty predictable stuff that we've seen lately. A lot of gas built up, so we'll probably see that starport here in a second anyway, once the first couple of Hellions start popping out. No, he's actually going to start that before the Hellions, so it'll be a little bit later on those. But as we can see, it is going to be a total of 4 queens out for LurkeR, going up to a third base and adding on double gas for now. Yeah,
LurkeR has not even really built anything aside from a handful of lings and a few queens to sort of guard the front of that natural. So far, though, no real imminent threats or anything. Actually, neither player holding on to the Xel'Naga Tower right now, which is kind of interesting. Don't see that too often. The starport going to be done soon. The first wave of Hellions is on the way now, but I think LurkeR is going to be well defended at his natural by the time those guys show up, just by the queens and lings that are already out.
And Space Shark. Don't ever discredit Space Shark.
Well, Space Shark is the guardian of the Xel'Naga Tower, but he can never use it. It's infinitely out of his reach.
That's pretty horrible, actually.
Yeah, it is.
That's so taunting. It's like an oracle, but without any of the cool parts of being an oracle.
His job is really boring.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't even get to see what's going on.
Just floats.
We
Banshee
do have, Banshee
Cloak.
already being produced with Cloak. So this is basically what we expected out of him. Let's see if these 4 Hellions can manage to sneak by these queens with enough life to actually be effective here.
And it looks like they are actually able to sneak by 3 of the queens so far.
Oh, man.
None of the Hellions have actually fallen yet. One worker has gone down along with a couple of Zerglings. A few more workers being roasted here. So this is actually working out not too bad for Dayshi. He's going to get a couple worker kills, annoy his opponent, force out some extra Zerglings. And that's about all.
Yeah, valuable scouting information here as he moves all the way into the main, so he knows that I haven't seen a Roach Warren yet, so I don't think there is a Roach Warren or Baneling Nest or anything, really, just all those macro tools so far from Lurker. And now that this Banshee's in here, he knows he's going to have some room to actually kill a bunch of workers. All the queens were out in front of the natural, so this Banshee could very well get a lot of kills before Cloak kicks in. Is he just risking it and hovering over the queens? Man, that's dangerous.
No kidding.
Oh.
5 hit points and gets out of there just before Cloak finishes up.
Yeah, but now that Cloak is finished, there's no detection here. Spore Crawler is now just starting, actually about halfway done now in the main mineral line, but he's got some freedom of movement. He's already got 4 kills on that Banshee, and a new wave of 4 Hellions is ready to go and try to be annoying again. Lurker has not really changed anything up. He's just building Spore Crawlers where appropriate and moving up to that lair tech now.
So Dayshi deciding to go down the double engineering bay route, more MMA-esque than what we saw out of players like, say, MVP at Gamescom. And we'll see what sort of damage he can do here. Very nice job clearing up the active creep tumors up at the front, but he is going to go for a little more bio-focused play. How many Banshees are out? 2 for now, with a 3rd on the way. I'm not actually sure where that 2nd Banshee is at.
Yeah,
there it is.
Okay, so it did actually make its way over to the 3rd base. There's a Spore Crawler there now, and the lair should be finishing up any moment now, so Overseers will start to make the Banshee play a little bit more difficult. But this whole time, Daishi's been massing up in the center of the map and actually sending an SCV along for the ride now, so he should actually probably be moving soon. I like this. This one Banshee is forcing all these drones to not do any mining. That is just really interesting. He could probably try to drop another Spore, just move the Queens forward, drop a Spore Crawler, but no, he's lost a lot of mining time just due to that one little Banshee.
Okay, so Dayshi is sitting pretty comfortably on what's going to be 3 bases here in just a second. This Banshee finally getting a couple of kills, made all of those workers very, very low, but hardly killed any of them as they were on gas and were cycling through the assimilator. Extractor, I apologize, a few times.
Oh yeah, that's actually the most confusing building, the assimilator extractor refinery. That's the one that you screw up the most as a StarCraft 2 caster. It's just impossible.
And I always default to the race I play at the moment as well, so it's like, oh, it's the assimilator.
Assimilator just is always the easiest in my head. Refinery is the one I have the most trouble actually remembering for some reason. But,
oh, that's a fair number of Zerglings here, surrounding a couple of Hellions pretty efficiently without taking too many losses. That was pretty good from Lurker, and he's trying to reestablish that creep spread through the middle of the map.
Yeah, and now that his lair is done, he's actually decided to add on some tech. He's going to actually have more options than Zerglings soon with that Banelingness and the Infestation Pit. He's got a ton of drones, and he's actually done a decent job at just keeping that drone count high despite those Banshee attacks and those Hellions. He's doing a good job with his macro, but now he really needs to start focusing on getting an army raised before it's too late, and Dayshi actually takes a slight advantage. So these couple of Queens, marching forward to try and pick up the Banshee. They are actually going to score that kill, so already very nice there from Lurker. He's going to get the Banshee kill without losing a Queen with that transfusion, and now all these Hellions are cornered. The Lings should be able to take this out. I don't know why he's not just committing to this.
Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, he wanted to make sure he didn't lose too many Zerglings.
That's
it was
true.
not a great spot for them to sit it all clumped up, so he's trying to pull some away. Wasn't the most efficient at it, but got the job done. There are 5 Infestors making their way out along with Hive Tech on the way, but no hint of Spire quite yet to the best of my knowledge, so it's not like he's going to move into super quick Broodlords. Looks like it's going to be heavy Ling Infestor play, probably Adrenal Glands right away along with 3/3 upgrades.
Yeah, Dayshi actually doing a good job. He's eking looking ahead in supply count, 137 to 136, because he's just basically building tons and tons of bio up at this point. 9 Marines at a time, 2 tanks and 2 medevacs at a time, while Lurker is actually still just droning up. If you look at that production tab, just now adding on some lings and flipping some of them over to banelings, but you can see a majority of his production tab is just a bunch of upgrades. Here's a nice drop from Dayshi into the main of Lurker. He's going to get a few drone kills and ling kills before being forced to back out. I'm assuming he's going to back out.
Yeah, he does have those links in a really nice spot there, though,
goes.
sitting behind the minerals like that. He was able to kill quite a few units, but now Lurker's pretty much expanding across the map.
Wow.
He's got base number 4 and 5 on the way. His macro hatch was already finished up, so his production is going to be well underway, especially with that hive now finishing up and access to tier 3 tech. Looks like these Marines are going to try and drop in one more time, picking off an Overseer. Not quite.
Decently valuable target, but doesn't quite manage to pick it off, and it looks like there's some movement slash motion or motion over on the left side of the map. So Dayshi will actually fly right over this 5th base, and it's just way too far out of the way. He could just drop and force that cancel, or maybe even score a kill, but he's not paying attention. Gonna fly right past it, or maybe he just doesn't value the target as much as trying to get some of these drones that are already mining. There was a spore crawler there, so I'm curious if this medevac's actually gonna manage to drop all of its cargo before going down.
And it does.
So they're on a suicide mission. Oh, yep.
Everything dies to banelings.
Instant baneling death. So the medevac goes down and the Marines without doing any damage. Now that these queens are under fire, though, Dayshi does pick up a couple of valuable targets.
Nice.
And actually manages to get away with a couple of those Marines.
Oh, okay. The infestors decided they didn't want to kill that medevac, and they just kind of let it slip on by. No bases have gone down yet, although Lurker has been delayed quite a few times, and we see that there's a massive maxed out army for Dayshi just kind of sitting around.
Yeah, I was wondering where all that supply was. I kept seeing Dayshi just creeping forward a little bit by little bit, and now I see the huge tank numbers that he's got going on there, and all that Lurker really has are Ling, Baneling, and Fester at this point. So he's gonna have to land some really incredible fungals or infested swarm egg walls, basically, to draw tank fire long enough for these Lings and Banelings to actually get to their targets.
All right, so it looks like he was dropping at the same time that he's moving through the middle of the map, taking control of the Zelnaga Tower and slowly pushing forward with those siege tanks. He's got a nice position established for himself, but needs to get the rest of his units up there. There we go.
The bridge too far, Kevin.
A big flanking maneuver would have killed him right there. Oh, Mace, he'll do it again, though. The tanks are not sieged up quite yet, and the Marines, they're all clumped up, and the tanks are just dying so quickly. The medevacs do pick up a fair number of the forces, and it looks like the Marines are going to be enough to hold for now, but that was still quite a large loss for Dayshi.
That was a huge loss, but the just instant pickup there of the 16 Marines was enough to keep him moving through the middle of the map, taking out creep tumors. And right now in the production tab, you see 52 Lings and 7 Ultralisks. These Marines have a very limited lifespan right now, so they need to try and do some damage where they can. Now the Ultra is out. You can see all these Lings flanking and just getting all around those Marines. Finally, Dayshi does pick up. It looks like he does want to move over to that separated, hatchery over there just to be able to pick that off. Even though not much is really going on there, he's preventing him from getting too large, and it looks like Dayshi is going to be able to pick this off without a problem. By the time those Lings arrive, he can just load up and get out of there. Infestors are going to be way too slow, but instead, no, he can just kill all these Lings that are just single file running to their death. Now there's an Ultralisk, and he's like, wait a second, where'd all my Lings go? I better get out of here. Run, Ultralisk.
And he does. The end. So the Ultralisk is running away. Drone goes down as well, and Lurker did lose one base there, was mining from it as well, so it is a pretty good shot to his economy. Daishi's still sitting with a pretty decent bank. I'm a little surprised he hasn't upped his flock of barracks, I suppose. He's only got, is he only 7? I think so. Wow, I'm actually a little bit shocked he doesn't have more barracks than that.
Yeah, he is maxed right now and has a bank of 3K, so he definitely should be adding barracks right now. You know, I can understand earlier just saving some money so he can remax, but now all he has is minerals, so I mean, adding on tons of barracks just to remax Marines would be a great idea for him. These medevacs are going to get caught sort of out in the open, and looks like both are actually going to fall. Another medevac trying to be annoying here from Dayshi. He's being very active with his drops, so that's always nice, and it looks like he is loading up on Marauders now as well after seeing all those Ultralisks.
Okay, so looks like he's adding on a lot more command centers. Certainly valuable at this stage of the game. You want to be able to sacrifice supply, recover your economy as quickly as possible, even after taking some damage. But once again, I just can't fathom why he has that few amount of barracks. He does have 3 factories. He'll be able to use quite a few resources, don't get me wrong, but I'm just a little shocked that he wouldn't want to be able to reproduce his army as quick as possible. Personal cloaking finishing up 4 ghosts as Dayshi once again rolls through the middle of the map, dropping down with a couple forces here and there just to be very annoying.
Yeah, that was a huge force to respond to a single Marine, but you know, the more he can pull Lurker in different directions, the better this tank line is actually going to be. So, oh, look at that, just all on the bridge, making it the hardest possible for the Ultralisks to actually get in there. Marines, we got Marines fighting on the left side. Looks like they're all going to go down, though, and man, Daishi's just losing huge swaths of units every single time they butt heads.
And now we're in that position that I was talking about. Look how many resources are still left available, and the supply's only at 142. So he's reproducing his army just a little bit too slowly, finally adding on 3 more barracks at the moment, but those needed to be constructed quite a while ago.
Yeah, and so, I mean, he's going to pay the price, obviously, if Lurker actually decides to push in here. He is remaxing himself on Lings, Infestors, and Ultralisks. He's also keeping... I can't believe how many bases this guy has. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases with a macro hatch, so he's able to remax incredibly quickly. Dayshi did expand again at the very center bottom of the map, but really, Lurker is just doing a good job winning these engagements. Dayshi, I'm not sure if Lurker should have tried to do a counterattack there and tried to get some, structural damage going on, because right now, Lurker's just been playing really passively, waiting for Dayshi to come into him, and I feel like he could do a lot of damage with the force that he has.
I'm a little shocked that Lurker as well hasn't decided to throw up a Spire on there just to be able to have that tech switch available to him. He has enough resources, and it would be pretty easy to put up a lot of Broodlords. And Ultralisks are good, don't get me wrong, in the right scenario, but it's still kind of interesting to me that he's not deciding to even offer it a tech switch. Just being able to force your opponent into a different tech direction is so valuable. And we see Daishi's adding on a few additional tech structures. He's got a factory, another barracks, a couple more starports, so he can continue to increase those numbers. But still, it would be difficult for him to react to mass numbers of Broodlords.
Yeah, but one interesting thing Dayshi is doing is building nukes.
I'm okay with that.
He does have a handful of ghosts already hitting the field. These 2 nukes are in production, and I'm not sure what Dayshi is seeing where he's like, okay, my army keeps getting surrounded and killed by ultras and infestors. Is he going to have to do some like suicidal nukes where he's like, I know they're going to crush my force, so I'm just going to drop a nuke on everything? That's kind of what I'm expecting, the way the pace of this game is going so far.
Dayshi needs to take some more bases too. There are now burrowed Zerglings at all of them though. It's going to be very difficult to get that done. But as we can see, his main, gone. Natural, pretty much gone. Third, gone. So he's going to be very low in mining, and this one is low to begin with, only 6 mineral patches. So he does have a sizable bank, yes, but it's going to be difficult to remake his force.
Oh my goodness. So these couple of ghosts do manage to sneak into the natural 3rd area, but there are 2 nukes already finished. I'm not sure where their high priority targets are going to be, though. That's the interesting thing to me. And Cloak is going to be running out here soon, so you may want to pick something soon.
That's he'll definitely need to do that. Okay, we'll keep an eye on those. Both players just staying passive in the middle of the map, banking resources and waiting. And I like Lurker's position a little bit here, unless he takes huge damage from these nukes. There's nuke number 1, and there's nuke number 2.
All right, so we've got just hitting the economy of 2 different bases. I'm not sure if the blast radius, that he catches the one in the top left. Doesn't catch this one here, though, so we will see some drones and larvae fry. A couple of spine crawlers take some damage, but I mean, it's always fun to see nukes. One of them was decently effective, killing a lot of drones, and the other, not so effective, and he does get chewed to pieces by... Wow, what is happening?
Sacking some SCVs. I think it was In Control who said that when you look at nukes, they either devastate your entire opponent's army, or they do 20 hit points of damage to an assimilator, and there's no in between.
Yep, and a nuke can't kill an assimilator even if it's dropped directly on it. It just has too much shield and HP. So it's just interesting. It takes 3 full nukes basically to kill any command structures like a command center, nexus, or hatchery. So nukes, not as powerful as they were in Brood War. If you saw, nuke cooldowns in Brood War would actually just crush everything. So it was a really, really big deal. Here it's like, I mean, it's obviously you don't want to get caught in it, but it's usually not a game breaker or a game decider.
Okay,
Two
so
more nukes already
now,
finished.
yeah, Dayshi has those 2 nukes out there, but he's pretty much mined out. I mean, he will need another base after all this is said and done. So I'm not sure what his strategy is going to be. He's got enough orbital commands around. He's even morphing in another one right now. That's going to give him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 command structures. Pretty good.
Yeah. Too bad none of them are mining at the
Yeah,
moment.
that's a fact.
That's the big part, right? So these ghosts, oh no, I was going to say they need to cloak, but they all get caught with that fungal right away, and they're just getting hammered by the Ultralists. The SCV wall on the left, they're actually just auto-repairing and getting healed by the Medivacs because they're so OP. They can be healed by anything. And it looks like Dayshi is going to try to continue moving here. I think he's basically got that resolve, like, I'm going to lose if I don't do something right now.
I think he's going to win with this attack, though. This is ridiculous. He actually had those in that position on the bridge that the Ultralists were not able to get in. Now the question is going to be, can he hold back the tide of units that are popping out of these eventual eggs? If he can do that, then he's going to be in a fine spot. He needs to be able to cut off these forces, though.
It really looks like he should be able to manage because 15 larvae right now are being used for overlords. I'm not sure where all of LurkeR's overlords went to, but he was supply blocked just for a second there and is making a round of 15 OVs. That's just a ton of larvae to be tied up when you need, you know, army to be coming back, and getting supply blocked like that is terrible as well. But yeah, this is just a huge mech force. He's going to slowly push through here, use his remaining minerals to just basically make Marines as if they were Zerglings, just to supplement that mech force. And he's going to keep going as far as he can with this, I think.
Well, he definitely needs to take another base or start winning the game. Oh, and he gets all of his tanks surrounded, picks up a lot of them inside of Medivacs, but the fungals start hitting the Medivacs right afterwards, and LurkeR comes right back and devastates his opponent's army.
This is a very interesting TVZ that we've got going on. Basically, these two players have been battling back and forth, Dayshi being the aggressor in most cases here. Actually, I don't think LurkeR's actually done a full-on attack yet, but Dayshi just losing so many units every single time. He had one successful engagement and then just happened to lose everything just moments later. He did not hit the right targets.
As good as Dayshi was just a second ago, and I legitimately thought if he could cut off the army of his opponent and keep doing damage to bases that he was going to win with that push or do significant economic damage. It kind of gave it away there. At least he's mining once again down in the bottom left-hand corner. That's a lot of mules, and as such, his economy is going to go way up.
Yep, it's booming right now. A few more SCVs show up to steal those juicy blue minerals too, but it was 28 harvesters to 69 because Dayshi threw away so many SCVs during the earlier encounters just to stem damage, basically. And now he's down 70 supply, 60 supply. It's going to be rather difficult to keep up now just because he's mining off so few bases.
Well, the Viking count is starting to be buffered now, 6 being produced at a time. Those are actually the first 6 Vikings out there. But as we can see, not that many Corruptors, a few of them out there, but obviously 6 Broodlords were just morphed in. Poor Marines are eventually going to die. There are still 2 nukes around, though, and I'm surprised he hasn't tried to get out there and at least nuke the army in some capacity.
Man, look at this bank for LurkeR right now. 5K, 5K, 32 minutes into a game. He's still just mining steadily, and any trade that's going to happen, LurkeR will be able to basically just get right back to max, I feel like. So here comes the first actual aggression from LurkeR, destroying the first structure, I think, of this game. So he is finally, you know, using his might. He's gotten to the point where he feels like he has an unbeatable army. All the Corruptors are going to protect these Broodlords fairly well. All the Cloaked Ghosts are going to be another story, though. He's going to need, there's a flock of Overseers to come in and clean up those Ghosts. The Vikings are warded off by the Corruptors, and LurkeR looks like he should have the force necessary to continue going through here.
Okay, well, LurkeR still does have a lot of Broodlords up, but the Corruptor count has been greatly diminished, so it's going to be up to Infestors to control these Vikings. Pretty good control from Dayshi, but now the ground forces are starting to run in as well, but the tanks have sieged themselves up, and Dayshi pushes away LurkeR once again, still at a supply deficit, but LurkeR still not able to get in there and do that critical damage he needs.
Yeah, he's building a wave of 11 Corruptors right now. You have to imagine at least half of them are going to flip over to Broodlords. They're going to have that superior range over that planetary fortress, and Dayshi still working off of very, very little resources here. He's going to have a hard time keeping up, obviously, with that 5K, 5K bank that we saw a moment ago, now down to only 4K, 4K. but these Vikings not going to be able to do enough damage to the Broodlords here with all those Corruptors in tow. And now Fungals as well on the Vikings, limiting what they can actually attack. The Ultralisks are coming in to finally hit that tank line, so the Broodlords need to move up just a little bit there to assist with that, but he is going to actually clean up all of those fighting forces. Dayshi falls below 100 supply for the first time in 25 minutes.
He does fall below 100 supply. All the Broodlords are gone now. Dayshi does stabilize for a second, and this is a little bit ridiculous. It's now a maxed army to 97 supply, 13 Infestors, 10 Ultralisks, 22 Zerglings coming up all at once. There's the sheer power of Bank, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hatcheries.
Yeah, and he's still got more minerals and gas than Dayshi after making all of that, so that's just a testament to how nice it is to have so many hatcheries. We do have 2 ghosts on a mission. They have limited energy, but they do have 2 nukes available to them, so we'll see where he actually decides to move. And the scan is basically a dead giveaway, though, unless he can plant that red dot somewhere a little harder to see. Yeah, so he is going to get there in time to move everything out. The spine crawlers might even survive this. It's hard to tell. I think one might die on the left. Oh, both of those died. But this nuke actually did catch a lot of drones, it looks like, or at least caught something.
A couple of them, yeah.
Charred Zergs on the ground, and both ghosts are... Actually, only one ghost got dispatched, I believe. The Overseer's parked right over the other one, though.
Huh. Yeah, the other one's just sitting off to the side for now. This is once again buying time for Dayshi to try and reproduce an army, but he is still in such a bad way right now, and his medevac count is very low, and just trying to reproduce an army. And 2 of those are actually just like one tap on the shoulder away from dying, so Dayshi now has to defend with pretty much everything he's got. Zerglings rolling their way through into the mineral line. Because the mules were there, the mining is actually pretty much nothing for now. There's Fungals hitting a lot of units. Dayshi taking some significant damage. AoE actually being done by the Ultralisks as well, and I'm not sure what Dayshi can do to come back from this.
Yeah, just a little bit of slip in the amount of production that he was able to do, and his economy just never really got to the same sort of level as his opponent LurkeR. And now that LurkeR's basically got this end-game unit composition, he's got more than enough to finish off these last few bio units here. A couple of EMPs hit the Infestors, but not until after they're fungled, so they are going to be picked off by the Ultras, and they're just going to keep on rolling through. Only 1 tank. I'm really surprised he turned around at all there, but Dayshi doesn't want to continue anymore. GG's out of there.
All right, so game number 1 going to end.